A 47-year-old man has been remanded to prison for the rape of a 64-year-old Region 6 woman. The accused, Brian Luke of Albion High Reef, Quarantine Babies, appeared in the Reliance Magistrates Court where he was charged under the Sexual Offences Act, Chapter 803. According to the police, their inquiries disclosed that on August 16th, the suspect allegedly committed the act and allegedly robbed the victim of $200,000. When he appeared in the court on Thursday, he was not required to plead to the offense and was remanded to prison until September 14th. The matter was transferred to the Albion Magistrates Court. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony says that a number of persons in the health sector are still to be vaccinated. He said healthcare workers are at a greater risk. He was speaking during his daily COVID-19 update. The government has given healthcare workers, transport operators and conductors additional time to comply with the order, which was first issued on July 29th. That order states that persons who are unvaccinated can only access government services by appointment. Further, every operator and conductor of any public transportation service shall be vaccinated and always have an identification document and their vaccination card in their possession.
And if you're going to be at high risk, then obviously you should get protection. The initial protection in the early days of the pandemic was to use PPEs and so forth. But now, in addition to PPEs, we also have vaccination. Vaccines we know work, vaccines are safe, they're protective, and the evidence that we've had so far is that people who are fully vaccinated are not going to get the most severe form of the disease. They're ending up in the ICU or dying from COVID. So we want to urge our healthcare workers to make sure that they're protected. If, for whatever reason, they're refusing to get vaccinated, then after this period would have lapsed, they would have to comply by showing a PCR result, like everybody else, before you can enter the workspace. It is going to be unfortunate that you will have vaccinated people who are protected, and then you have unvaccinated persons who will be coming into these institutions and will want to mingle with those that are vaccinated.
Dr. Anthony said we need to protect ourselves.
It is going to be unfortunate that you will have vaccinated people who are protected, and then you have unvaccinated persons who will be coming into these institutions and will want to mingle with those that are vaccinated. We need to protect ourselves, all of us, because we are seeing around the world that there's a surge now of the Delta variant. And with the Delta variant, if you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you can get the severe form of the infection. In almost every country where there's a surge of Delta variants, we have seen that happening. We might be a little bit ahead of the curve here in terms of not getting the widespread Delta variant as yet. And it gives us an opportunity really to make sure that we are vaccinated so as to prevent these infections from occurring. So I really do hope that the 2 weeks that we would have given to persons, both in the health sector and public transportation sector, that they would really heed what we have said and go out and get vaccinated.
Guyanese have begun protesting across various communities over the mandatory vaccination. Since then, there has been a pushback against mandatory vaccination, and the Ministry of Health has announced that healthcare workers, public transport operators, and conductors will be given 2 weeks to comply with the order.
And regionally, news coming out of Trinidad and Tobago, the Trinidadian Guardian has reported that despite the reservations by some parents about having their children vaccinated at this time, Education Minister Dr. Narayan Gatsby Dolly said both vaccinated and unvaccinated students will be welcomed back into schools next month. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has said that students in Forms 4, 5, and 6 will be allowed to resume physical classes when the new academic term of 2021-2022 begins on September 6th. Asked yesterday how the Ministry of Education intends to address the issue of vaccinated students mixing with the unvaccinated, the minister said there will be no discrimination of either category. She said at this time, in every office building, family, taxi in Trinidad and Tobago, the vaccinated and unvaccinated coexist. There is no requirement for separation. Schools are not expected to operate any differently. Gatsby Dolly reinforced the government has a policy of voluntary vaccination with no requirement to prove vaccination status for access to public places of work, buildings, or services. The Ministry of Education is guided by that. Meanwhile, one day after they operationalized 13 centers specifically for administering the Pfizer vaccine to people between 12 to 18, the Ministry of Health increased the number of vaccine sites to provide greater access. The latest vaccine sites should be added to the list include Central Point Mall, Chaguanas, and the Paddock, Queen's Park Savannas, Port of Spain. The ministry said on the first day of the drive on Thursday, 3,702 people received their first dose of the World Health Organization approved Pfizer vaccine. For these and other stories, do visit us at our website at www.rdproductionsgy.com.